welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about our sheep. You can see some of them behind us and kind of how we got into it and things like that. So we actually have 22 Katahdin sheep as of right now. We bought our last group just this past weekend, and I wanted to kind of explain a little bit about how I grew up with beef cows and things like that, and my husband didn't grow up with sheep either, and you can hear him talking to you in the background. But how and why we're in sheep. So our kids are smaller. They are 4 and 2 right now, and we wanted something that they could kind of get started with in 4-H and things like that. And sheep are kind of a really cool thing. They can graze on what cows can too, and they can just do it in a smaller area and facility. So we actually have Katahdin hair sheep. So the difference between a hair sheep and a wool sheep is a hair sheep actually has hair fibers. So if you've ever felt like a donkey or a cow, that's kind of what our Katahdin hair sheep feel like. Some of them don't shed completely out, so they do get a coat in the winter, and they don't shed that completely off, but a lot of them is, a lot of that has to do with genetics and things like that, and you can breed for that. So our hair sheep do not require shearing. We do not have to have somebody come to our farm and shear them. They actually just lose their winter coat just like a cow does, and things like that, or a horse, and they just hang out. So a wool sheep actually has to be sheared and has that fiber that needs to be removed so that they can live successfully and things like that. Now there are different breeds of hair sheep, and why did we choose Katahdin? So we were picking between Katahdin and Dorper, that kind of the climate that we live in, and our pasture and things like that. That's kind of what we were looking for. But we were just kind of drawn to the Katahdin, just because that's kind of what we were, our preference. So there was, hair sheep is what we wanted. We were looking for Katahdin, and we're looking for something that works for ours, and we kind of chose Katahdin. Now when you're looking into sheep, I started out knowing nothing. So I started doing research about a year ago, and we kind of just fell into our first group of sheep. We bought 4 at first. We wanted to start small, and we didn't really know what we were going to do or how we were going to do it. And I found these 4 on Facebook Marketplace, and they kind of just fell into my lap after I attended a sheep school here in our local area. And I attended that sheep school, and it really solidified that I wanted to try sheep for our farm and for our kids to have something smaller to be able to work with. So I bought these 4, and the 4 that I actually bought are right here behind us. You can see them. The rest of them are up here in the woods and stuff. But we put them in this pasture, it's about 3 acres. And I built a fence. We do not have a guard dog. Ours are actually trained to stay behind a 2-strand electric fence. And then we have panels kind of where we work them and things like that for our facilities. But we are kind of just setting it up and kind of trying to figure out where we're going to go and things from here. So we are going to let them in here until we are going to rotational graze them. So we are going to try to keep them on grass and forage as long as possible. And then when needed, we will supplement with hay and things like that. But we are really going to try to manage our farm to be able to keep them on pasture in that environment. So right now they're, like I said, behind 2 strands of electric fence. They stay there. They love it. They respect it. Everything they need is in that pasture. Their water. We do have mineral out for them, free range mineral. And then we do not have a guard dog. That was one of my things I was kind of concerned about. And when I bought our first 4 sheep, that's how they were raised. They were not raised with a guard dog. The benefits of a guard dog is to keep away predators. So coyotes, other dogs, things like that. That was one of the things they taught us in our sheep school, which was a really neat concept. But for our area and our facility, that's not going to work. Sometimes guard dogs are hard to keep in. And our farm here is surrounded by houses around us. And we really needed to think about other options of what we can do. As of right now, knock on wood, we have not had any problems with coyotes or predators or other dogs. Our sheep are really happy and healthy. We do have a farm dog that you've seen roaming around, Jax. He knows that he has to stay out of the sheep facility. He does not go in with the sheep. We have kind of worked with him to leave him alone, and he keeps away things like that if they're outside the sheep facility. We also have cows roaming, so the sheep are up there. You see the fence right there, and then cows rotationally graze here, so that kind of helps too to keep those away sometimes. But our sheep they're happy, they're healthy. We're really excited to see where it goes. And it's working for us right now. So we don't really know all the answers. We're not experts on everything. But that's kind of the basis of how we got started. We just bought them. We were looking for animals that kind of fit what we were looking for in our farm. So ones that were not raised with guard dogs, ones that were raised on rotational grazing, ones that were not raised in a barn or things like that. So when we were looking to buy our genetics, we were really looking for animals that were raised like that so that we could just transfer them to our farm and continue that operation. And you can see them, more of them are coming down up here right now. We are going to do fall breeding. So we will put a ram in with these animals, with this flock about November. And then we will work to do their natural breeding cycle because they're short day breeders. And we will have lambs about end of March, beginning of April, when the grass is starting to green up and things like that. So we really want to try to utilize all of the things our farm has to be able to make sure that we provide the best possible way and home for our sheep. Now, is our way the best? Nope. It's whatever works for your kind of facility and things like that. I am by no means saying I am an expert in sheep production at all. We've had our sheep for about 2 months, so I do not know everything. I'm still learning every day. And so this is kind of what we wanted to try for our lifestyle and our facility. We wanted to see what works for us. And it's important to try to figure out when raising livestock what works for you. There's producers around us that raise them in barns and are fully confined, and it works out wonderful, and they keep their animals healthy, and the animals are happy, and they're great. But this is how we wanted to try it because we have some pasture that's able to be utilized for this. And so we will keep you updated to see how it all goes.